Good morning, everyone, and welcome back for your weekly energy forecast and oracle reading. And let us see what energetic weather we have to navigate this week, because I feel like this week is going to be another interesting week. Okay, it's always interesting every week, isn't it? Okay, so let us see. We're working with the Everyday Witch Tarot today by Deborah Blake. So let's tune into the energy. What energy do we have for the beginning of the week? We have the the Queen of Cups. If you look at this card, there's a very sweet, very demure, I want to use that kind of word, for this queen. She's bountiful, and as you can see, she's pregnant. She's got a kitty by her feet. There's little fishies swimming in the water, and she's very relaxed and she's very nurturing. She's got a lovely, nurturing, soft energy. So, and I'm hearing Spirit say for today and tomorrow that we need to own our emotions, because we're going to be a little bit in our feels, it feels like, today and tomorrow. And this is very typical of Scorpio energy, because we're in Scorpio season at the moment. And Scorpio season is all about plumbing the depths of our being, really figuring out what we're feeling and allowing ourselves to feel it, because as I always say, we have to feel things in order to heal them, okay? So let us be in the feels and let us ask those feelings, what are those feelings trying to tell us? So in other words, if we're feeling, easily triggered, or various thoughts and feelings come up for us today and tomorrow, whether they be anger or sadness or regret or whatever, address the emotion, say, hello, emotion, okay, what are you trying to teach me? And try and look and see what that emotion's opposite is. Because if we realize what that emotion's opposite is and apply that after feeling the feels, then we get to heal that. So in other words, if we feel triggered and we feel intense anger, let's say, the anger can be saying, maybe we need some boundaries. Maybe we need to love ourselves by having better boundaries. Or maybe we need to love ourselves by saying no a little bit more. Okay, and I'm hearing again Spirit say, raise your standards. It's time to raise your standards. Also, if you feel, let's say, sadness, regret, then exercise forgiveness and compassion for yourself. So try to bring in that emotion's opposite as a way of healing that. But of course, we do have to feel it and identify it in order to heal it. Okay, very interesting. Let's get some guidance from, I'm also hearing nurture, self-nurturing, but then loving oneself is part of nurturing, isn't it? Nurture yourselves, nurture the ones around you, especially children. I'm hearing children coming up here. So this is inner child. Your inner child is needing some healing and some nurturing, and possibly your own children, or children that you're close to, or children that you care for. Because Spirit is showing me that the children as a collective at the moment are feeling a little bit edgy, irritable, uncertain, a little bit wobbly. And that is because Spirit is showing me that they're feeling a little bit wobbly and uncertain as a collective due to obviously the intense energies out there. I mean, our new children, the young ones that are young at the moment and that are being born, say, from 2000 onwards, 2010 onwards even, they are very sensitive. They feel things very deeply, and a lot of the times they don't know what they're feeling or why, because they're very empathetic. They tend to absorb energy very easily. Okay, so some compassion there, some care is needed. Okay, let's get some wisdom from the oracle. How can we navigate this energy in the beginning of the week? Time to go. Interesting. If you look at this lady, she's walking up this like gangway or pathway, but she's leaving all these sparkles behind her. So the time to go is really about letting go of what doesn't work for you. But I'm also hearing this is not about situations so much or people as much. This is more about feelings. It's time to really put the past where it belongs, because remember, we're in our feels in the beginning of the week. And I'm hearing the word dredging. So it's like the energy at the moment, the energetic weather at the moment is forcing our stuff to come to the surface. And it's not pleasant. Let's be real. It's not fun. We're easily triggered. We're going to get easily upset. We're going to feel like negative Nancy's, right? And that is only because it's coming up to be felt. Now, Spirit has always shown, when we have energy upgrades like this, they always show it to me like when we're doing a detox. So, like, let's say you do this amazing, water, fresh fruit and veggies kind of detox, and you feel great on day 1. Day 2, not so much, because now all that goodness has brought all the toxins in our tissues out. It's purged those toxins out, and the liver's got to process it, and the lymphatic system's got to process it, and our body's got to process it. And as we're processing it, we're feeling it. So we're going to get a headache, we're going to feel tired, we're going to feel moody, cranky, and that's because the detox is working. Okay, and that's not a nice feeling. So they're saying emotional detoxes are exactly the same. So do not suppress what you're feeling or ignore what you're feeling or think you're being silly or like you're losing your head. No, you're not. You're just dredging and purging another layer of what's been lying dormant, and it's showing us where we need the self-care, the self-love, the compassion, the forgiveness, and all the goodness that goes with that. And we need to release it and let it go and say, thank you, for bringing to my awareness what needs healing, but I don't need you anymore. I don't need to hold on to my story. Thank you. I don't need to hold on to well, I'm a victim of this and this happened to me and it doesn't make your story less valid. It just means your story does not define who you are now and who you are becoming. Yes, those things happened before. No, they weren't fun, but they taught you something. There was something to take away, right? So let go of the story, let go of because Spirit is saying it's a limitation. When we believe that we're a victim of this and this and this and everything went pear-shaped then and it was all awful, it's not a limitation. So shift the belief. They're saying shift the belief and you find freedom. Okay, so time to go. Time to let go of the past conditioning and past patterning. Okay. And Spirit is saying, how do we bring things to our awareness so we can heal it? We have to feel it. We have to be triggered. Not fun, hey? But what can we say? All right, let's get some guidance from the angels and ancestors. How do we navigate this energy of letting go and healing? This one. See beyond. Seer. See beyond the current situation. So if you look at this lady, she's a gypsy, and she's got her eyes covered, but she's using a crystal ball. So Spirit is saying appearances can be deceiving, right? So in other words, whatever you're experiencing in your very physical 3D world, whatever is in front of you, see beyond it. See beyond the limitation that is there. So let's say for argument's sake, you're applying for a new job, or you're applying for a new home, or you're wanting something, okay? You're wanting this, and you get a no. Don't take no for an answer, okay? See beyond it. Whenever we get a no for something, it means that thing is actually not for us. It's actually not good for us, and it would end up costing us later. It would cost our happiness, right? So no, as that saying goes, rejection is God's protection. So whenever we get a no for whatever reason, don't take it personally. It doesn't mean you're not getting what you want. It means you're being redirected to something that's actually much better for you. So see beyond what's in front of you. Don't take what's in front of you at face value. See beyond it. Okay? And I'm hearing determination. Be determined about what you want. Okay? Be determined. Okay, let's see. What energy do we have for the middle of the week? What energy do we have for the middle of the week? Interesting. We have the moon. Okay. Now, interesting. Please notice the kitty looking at itself in this pond. Okay, it's a cat. But as it sees itself in the pond, it sees a jaguar. Okay, so again, that ties in with everything is not as it seems, okay? Because in the light of the moon, nothing seems the way that it is, because the moonlight can distort things. It's like if you can imagine when you were a kid, and you were sleeping in your bed and you saw this big monster in the corner of your room and it's dark, but when you put the light on, you see it's a chair with a jacket over it. So in other words, don't be afraid, I'm hearing. As much as you might feel like you're in the dark in the middle of the week, you're processing a lot of stuff, you're being triggered by the external seems limiting in some way, look beyond it, okay? And know that you're so much bigger and stronger and so much more powerful than you think, okay? Spirit is saying we are so much more. This is a good one. They're saying we are so much more than our physical. Okay, we all see each other, we see ourselves as this physical vessel, like we're limited to this. Okay, no, we're not. Okay, our soul is enormous. Our soul, our spirit, our energy is enormous because our energetic field extends about 1 meter to 1.5 meters outside of us. This is the vehicle that carries our soul around, and our soul is enormous, and our soul is unlimited, and our soul is eternally connected to source, right? So therefore, I'm hearing we have unlimited power, but in order to know our unlimited power, we first need to know what it is not. Okay? It's the same as we don't know if this rose is pink if we don't know what green is. If that makes sense. You don't know what black is unless you know what is white, right? So therefore, it feels like polarity. This week has got like a polarizing energy. It's like, are we only seeing what is limited? Are we only stuck in the 3D? Are we only taking what's out there as real? Or can we see beyond the mundane? Can we see beyond the 3D and know that our thoughts are powerful, our minds are powerful, our souls are powerful, and we have the ability to shift and manipulate energy at will, okay? So this is what is coming through for me with this card, okay? We are so much more than we realize. We are so much more than we realize, but we're not going to know that until we first know what it is not. So if you're feeling challenged right now, if you're feeling pushed and shoved and like you're getting no's everywhere, okay? That is a universe of, yes, it's a universe's way of redirecting you to what is actually good for you, but it's also showing you that you're so much more powerful to take your power back and say, okay, yes, I've got a no for that house or the loan or the job or the relationship. I've got to know, okay, 100%. I now know maybe I must keep looking and I'll get a yes eventually, but I'm not going to let the no rob me of my power. It's nothing personal, I'm hearing Spirit say. It's nothing personal. You're being redirected. Stand in your power and keep going, okay? Again, the analogy of the aeroplane. When the aeroplane takes off, it doesn't now suddenly come back down to the ground because it hit a wobble there. It keeps going, okay? Right, let's get some wisdom of the oracle for the middle of the week. God, oh, this one fell right out. Okay, this card says, no place like home. Okay, oh, I love it. Okay, now this card talks about family. It talks about nurturing. It talks about being at home and comfortable in your own skin, regardless of what's going on around you. Okay, so, and also if you look at this card, it's like hovering above the ground. So it's rising above whatever drama is swirling around you. And I'm hearing Spirit say, to add to this card for the middle of the week, we want to, how do I explain what I'm seeing here? It's like we want to know that we are our own home. Right? No matter what's going on, no matter what is happening in the 3D world, in our own heart, we are safe. We are our own, I'm hearing the word refuge, seeking refuge in your own heart, if that makes any sense. Okay, so yeah, we're going to be feeling a bit like we're stepping into new territory in the middle of the week. We now know we're powerful, we know we're courageous, we know we're so much more than we realize. And it's time to be at home in that, to feel comfortable in your own skin and to own, thank you, and to own your own power. Okay, let's get some further guidance from the angels and ancestors for the middle of the week. Oracle of the week, please. This card, oh shit, this one also. Okay. Now, this card here is the one that came out, but then this one was kind of stuck to it. Okay, so this one, and it came up last week too, I think. It says, great teacher, learn from spiritual experiences. Okay? So in other words, everything that is happening to you, Spirit is saying, is actually happening for you, right? You're not being punished. You're not a bad person, right? Your Creator doesn't hate you. You're not a bad person, right? But do understand that those challenges are there as triggers. Spirit has shown me like a challenge is like a key. When you encounter the challenge, it's like a key. It comes to you and it unlocks something, okay? So it'll unlock your personal power. It'll unlock your courage. It'll unlock your ingenuity. And it's up to us to face the fear and to step into that so that we can courageously go after what we want or courageously do what we feel guided to do. So in other words, whenever the challenge comes along, ask yourself the question, what is this teaching me? What is this? Not why is this happening to me? What is it teaching me? What is it encouraging me to step into? Okay. Then this one that fell out, it's the hunter. It says, track down your fears and your desires. Okay. So in other words, what they're talking about here is face your fear. It brings us back to this card here. Be courageous. Even if you don't know where you're going, or even if you don't know how it's working out, be courageous, like this kitty that's actually a jaguar. Okay? Remember who you are. Come home to yourself. Know that you're safe and secure. Learn from your challenges and face your fears and do it anyway. Because British Army, again, portal. So it's because the veil is thin. And, during the Scorpio season, it's got a lot to do with Halloween. The veil is very thin. So in other words, it's easier to connect with Spirit. It's easier to manifest. It's easier to bring the unseen into the seen. Okay? So face your fears. Do it anyway. You're not limited, I'm hearing. Okay. Now let's see. Friday and the weekend. This is quite a intense week. Okay. Friday and the weekend. Let's see. Friday and the weekend, we have the Two of Cups. This card has been coming up every single week, I think for the past 4 to 5 weeks. Okay. Now, if you look at this card, it's a couple. They're drinking a lovely glass of wine. The two kitties are at their feet. They've got their two brooms side by side. And I'm hearing the words opposing forces coming together to create alchemy. So this card is not limited to relationships, but yes, its main meaning is to do with relationships. It's to do with harmony, partnership, marriage, reconciliation, healing, all that good stuff. But this has also got a lot to do with two things coming together to make magic. So Friday and the weekend, be open to new people that cross your path. Be open to people that are helpful. Be open to healing in your relationships. Because I keep reading the word reconciling. So if they have, now they're showing me that over the last while, relationships, yes, they have been very testing. A lot of us obviously have faced even more of our shadow. So in our relationships where there's been difficulties, this is like a coming back together wiser because we faced our shadows. We faced the parts of ourselves that we don't really like very much. We've had lots of opportunity to heal that and work through that. And now we have the opportunity to come back together better than what we were before, more compassionate, more understanding, right? So that is fantastic. Okay, let's get some wisdom of the oracle here. And let's see Friday and the weekend, please. What guidance is here? Friday. As I was taking this card, I was looking at this card. If you look at the sun in the background, it's like a dawn. It's a new beginning. And choose nuts, this card comes out. It says new life. So this is like, it's all, thank you. Spirit is saying it's always darkest before the dawn. Okay. So again, at the beginning of the week, we might be feeling very in our feels, in the dark, in the shadows. We don't really like how we're feeling, right? But it's because it's the darkest now before the dawn. That's why. And I'm hearing the word solstice. Now, solstice, if I remember correctly, is 20th, 21st December. We're building up towards that light. It's the darkest before the dawn. So we're heading towards new life. And that's why we're being challenged so much at the moment. That's why the heat is being turned up on our shadow, on the dark within us, the fears, the hurts, the traumas, the all the stuff that's been lying so dormant. That also explains the solar flare activity we've been having over the last while. We've been having plenty solar flares. And I think I explained before what solar flares do. They mess with our magnetic field, and obviously the magnetic field of the earth, because everything is magnetic. So what it does is it brings in these potent light activation codes, which is what solar energy is, and it shakes loose whatever's been lying dormant within us. So don't be surprised if you've been feeling very tired, extremely tired, but you can't sleep, or you sleeping way more than normal, heart palpitations, headache, intense headaches, intense thirst, not really much of an appetite, all sorts of weird and wonderful feelings come up that the doctor can't seem to explain. That's another thing. Don't discount your symptoms. You know, if you're feeling concerned, please do go and see a doctor. But I'm talking about the symptoms that the doctors can't explain. That's where that's coming from, is solar flare activity. It does, it's scientifically proven. It's not just a woo-woo thing, I promise. So yes, it's bringing all of that to the surface as an enormous clearing to prepare us for what Spirit is calling a lift-off, a take-off, because there's new beginnings afoot. And it's not just new beginnings we're going to experience, it's a whole new us. We're evolving. We're coming out of our shadow and out of the dark, and we're waking up as to who we actually are as sovereign, empowered beings that are eternally connected to Source, and that we're so much more than our physical vessels. I mean, how amazing is that? Okay, let's get some inspiration. Let's get some guidance from the angels and ancestors for Friday and the weekend. Okay. Interesting. Oh, we need to. Okay. Oh, and this one is popping right out. Okay. This one here is the one that I drew. It says, wise one, grow within your current situation. Now, I'm being guided to read out the message because it's quite a beautiful message that this card has. Let us now find where it is in this book. Bear with me. Please hold your call, is very important. Okay, it says, the wisdom of the wise one is based on something that the younger generation is often lacking: commitment and reliability. Commitment, this card here, partnership. Okay. When this card appears, you're being guided to continue working on your growth and expansion within your current situation. Be committed to your tasks and projects. It can be very easy to get bored or overwhelmed, but persevere. You're being reminded of how it feels to be let down and experience unreliability, and that is not who you were born to be. So keep working on what you're working on, because it's going to be extremely beneficial for you in the long run. Okay, so be committed to, and don't be afraid to put energy in to your relationships, to your connection to others, to your projects, to your goals. Be committed. And that be committed comes in again, like with this card here, where towards the beginning, in the middle of the week, we were talking about how we're scared, we're wobbly, we're not sure, but we're remembering who we are. So now that we know who we are, we can commit more and be more determined about what it is that we're trying to achieve. Okay. Then the last card, this one kind of grabbed my attention. It says, protection guardian, drop your shields. Okay. So this card is talking about don't be afraid. And I'm hearing the word with relationships here to incorporate more vulnerability. Okay. Being vulnerable does not mean being weak. Okay. Being vulnerable means, let me show you my heart. Okay. Please don't mess it up. Right. But here it is. okay? Because we've got to show who we really are so that people will love us for who we really are, okay? We can't pretend to be somebody else. We can't walk around with our shields like this all the time, because if we walk around with shields like this, we will attract people who also have shields like that. Like attracts like at the end of the day. So don't be afraid to be open and to be vulnerable, because there's enormous power in that. When you're not afraid to show the world who you are, it is liberating. Because you don't give a damn what other people think. It is the most, when you don't care about what other people think of you, it is the most powerful thing in the world. But it's also very attractive because you're confident. Okay, you know who you are, you know what you want, you're there, you're showing up, you're real, you're being vulnerable. There's enormous power in that. Okay, so drop your shields in your relationships. Don't be afraid. There's nothing to fear, because now you know what your limitations were. That's what this was about once again, okay? You thought you were small. You thought you were a victim. You thought you were useless. You thought. This week is a shaker-upper. This week shakes us and says, hey, you're stronger and so much more powerful than what you actually thought, okay? You felt it. This week, you've started to heal a bit more. A lot of stuff has been shaken loose, and there are untruths. There are beliefs that we used to have about ourselves. There are beliefs we used to have about the world, but now we're stepping into the new, right? And as we do that, now we realize, oh, I'm actually a different person now, and it's safe for me to be this person that I am now. And now, because I've evolved and grown and shifted into who I really am, and I've shifted into my potential, then all means of good and new comes easier. Okay, it comes easier, because if we think about it like this, if you want to be, let's say, the CEO of a corporation, who do you need to be to do that? Do you need to be stronger, wiser, right? Who do you need to be? And the only way you know who you need to be, you choose to grow from what you've learned, okay? You choose to see the tragedies, the letdowns, the disappointments, all that as actual life lessons that is preparing you for who you need to be, okay? So very interesting, very transformative week this week. This looks like it's going to be interesting, for want of a better way of saying. I'm asking Spirit, is there anything else that we need to know about this week? I'm hearing surrender. Every week it's surrender, isn't it? But this is what this year has been about, largely. It's about learning how to surrender and to stop resisting the flow of life. So surrender into the moment, I'm hearing, one moment at a time. And they're saying this is not a sprint. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So slowly, be gentle with yourself. Be kind with yourself. Rest when you feel that you need to, and you'll navigate this week like a rock star. So there you go. I hope that helps you guys. Once again, thank you so much for being here, for liking, for subscribing, and all the rest that goes with it. And I wish you all an amazing week, and I'll see you again next week. Take care and keep well. Bye.